Sorry, I had to make the reference to the way.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Anime4ALL podcast. Sorry for the very late start, 30 minutes almost.
Hey guys!
Hey. I am here with Spirit Magic Helmet and
everybody doing good?
The one person that was here went to go lay down because he wasn't feeling good. Hope he's feeling better later.
Was it your mom? Your mom come to support you?
No, that was 6.
Dude, that's not something we should talk about.
I mean, that was Steve.
Oh, 6. Yeah, SIX. I got you. So, we're going to talk about heroes today?
We'll talk about the last 2 episodes of My Hero Academia anime. The one prior to the one we're talking about that came out this week, I'm not going to say much more. I'm not going to say much about it. Because I think very little, if I remember correctly, I'm back looking at it. I don't know how much of it was new.
Well, one of the episodes was almost entirely recap. Or just like a little bit of explication mixed in, but not too many things except the new Froppy footage, which I thought was pretty incredible. I mean, that was redeeming alone, the Froppy footage.
I mean, a lot of that episode, at least episode 13, that one was just a lot of retelling what happened really fast, also showing a little bit of like civilians being in trouble. We have a situation where there's an older brother and a younger sister. The older brother is trying to tell his sister to run away, but she's not listening to him because she wants her older brother. Which that was really sad in and of itself. I don't remember if that was even shown in the initial altercation or anything. I feel like that was new. And that's where you see Froppy taking the kids away. Is that before? No, Tokyo wasn't involved in any of that. I thought this was, that's really weird. A lot of her rocket footage here. I really appreciate that she's actually showing how resourceful she is, with being an evacuator. really, really, really showcasing her ability, and Froppy as well, showing that they're both able to, you know, work together and evacuate a lot of civilians. At least the ones they're able to help.
I think, but if we're being honest, those are two of the best collaborators in the whole series as far as like teamwork goes. I would argue, I know I go off on Froppy a lot, but I would say Froppy and Uraraka are probably the two best team players out of everybody.
I mean, they keep on saying that Froppy is an all-arounder. She's not. There's not much she isn't bad. There's nothing that she's bad at, which is really weird. But
something that she's both good and bad at, though, is that she's a soldier about it. Like, she does what she's told. She never goes rogue. You can't really say that. I think even Uraraka went like kind of rogue once, right?
no, I can't think of a situation where she didn't do what she was ordered to do.
Wasn't there a thing a few seasons ago where everybody but Froppy pretty much like got involved in something, like fighting Stain or something like that? Where
that was like a split decision. I believe
there was something where
I believe Uraraka sided with Froppy were not to go after. I think it was was it? It was there were. Oh yeah, like when Kachan when Bakugo got kidnapped, there was a split in the group. I believe Uraraka sided with waiting for the adults, the heroes, to do something, and that's where Froppy stayed. But we also have later on in the what?
Uraraka didn't help with Stain either, right?
I mean, nobody. I don't think Froppy was even near Stain. I mean, like I think the only time, like I don't think any of the people besides Deku, Ida, Todoroki were even involved in the Stain thing, because they weren't even nowhere nearby. I think, if I remember correctly, Froppy was doing something with the Marines, and Uraraka was taking self-defense courses.
Right. But on the converse, like Uraraka saved Deku in like episode 1 and established herself as a team player, and Froppy has established herself many times as someone that always sticks with the team and follows what she's told to do. So I would say that those are two of the best team players. If I had to pick another one, maybe like Creaty is pretty team player oriented.
Also, I guess with this situation where Uraraka is saving everybody and all the other Class 1A saving a lot of people, we see a hero who I don't even know his name. I don't think we even get his name, but we see just this incident taking away a lot of their self-confidence. A hero literally saying that I might need to find another line of work. That line was very poignant, showing how much damage Shigaraki did, or All For One did, just by taking out a lot of people.
Yeah, he takes All For One takes very, very long-winded strategies, like long-term strategies. Like he's like puts himself in jail for 6 series. You know what I mean? All in the for 3 seasons, all to help the other guy strengthen himself. You know, while he chills out. You see a lot of that stuff, but I guess if your lifespan is indefinite, you know what I mean? And you've been alive a few hundred years, a few years isn't as big of a deal. You know, it's like the elves. The elves are like, oh yeah, we don't really get ourselves involved in the ebb and tide, you know, the ebb and flow of things, because we know that it all averages out in the end.
Speaking of lives,
is a period, short-lived humans, but makes a lot of sense from an elf perspective. And he,
yeah, I guess that does make sense.
He's thinking more like an immortal than he is someone that.
Well, I mean, we'll get to his thought process a little bit later in the next episode.
But he's still thinking more like an immortal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get to that whole thought process of gods and demons in the next episode, because he actually says a few lines regarding that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a confession here. The next bit near the end of the episode 13, you remember that line we were arguing over what the Midnight said about putting somebody to sleep and whatnot, or it being against the law, or whatever? I literally, it was kind of irritating me as I was watching it, and after I watched it, so before I even talked to you, I decided to go online just to see if I could find something about sleep and death or whatever in the My Hero Academia universe. Hello?
You said you were going on. You went and researched. That's why I disconnected.
But that little bit, because I was trying to figure out like there was some like somewhere in the My Hero Academia world that was stated about sleep. I didn't find out a lot. Actually, I didn't find anything at all except Midnight dying.
Yeah.
I was very upset when I found that out because I didn't know. At first, I thought maybe it was just it was a funny ploy. I ended up looking at Midnight's profile page, but they don't say she's dead. As far as I can tell, it looked like she was still alive. Maybe she was in the hospital, but they confirm here in these next 2 episodes she's dead, and that very much upset me because I actually liked her character.
Yeah, they didn't even kill Bunny Girl. Like, I would have thought Bunny Hero would have gone down at that point. She had like a broken everything.
Yeah.
I just feel like Midnight would have been a little more tenacious, but I guess she was.
She probably was tenacious up to her death. I mean, crying out loud. I guess they needed.
It's a creepy way to go down because like the last we saw of her alive is like a bunch of like low level.
I mean, she was already kind of like she was tossed around a bit though. It wasn't like when she was down there, she was at full strength.
Yeah, but like what a way to go. Like you look up and a whole bunch of low level villains are running your way, and you're like, oh man, I would destroy these guys at any other time in my life. But here, like I'm gonna be very compromised. You know what I mean? For the implication to be that she fought against low level guys while being seriously injured, and they just finished her off, has like a darkness, like a level of being slaughtered that we haven't seen before. I think that's kind of heavy. So I know it's a series that has heavy, serious like things, but that's like a little more savage than I'm used to from My Hero. Like the implication that those guys just came in and finished her off at the end.
Yeah, no, I got really.
Because at first I thought they were like, I assumed that they were like low-level heroes coming to save her, but then you see the look on her face and you're not so sure, and the next thing you know, she's dead. And she didn't die directly against Gigantomachina either, because she was like, she survived that part enough to talk to everybody and like at least pass.
Yeah, I was very upset. And then apparently after that, you even find out that Majestic died too. And all you see is his hat and blood, so I don't know where his body went.
Yeah.
And like the explanation, Majestic was that guy that Midnight called in. Apparently he's able to toss people or eject them, whatever. It's a distance. So not only did he die, he was also very useful.
I didn't pick up on that. I thought that was just the name of the shield guy. And I didn't think to look it up.
Yeah, you've seen him before.
I did see part of his like hat or something, right? Like
yeah, his hat was like a little witch hat. You saw him before.
Mm-hmm.
He was introduced very early. He was introduced earlier. I'm not sure when. He was introduced.
They list him as like high end on the list of casualties, though, and it threw me for a second. They list him as kind of high end on the list of hero casualties. So
I mean, yeah, he's able to eject.
I know that the shield hero that dies is like one of the top 10. And I don't know where Majestic falls. Maybe he's like pure with like fat gum or something.
I mean, he's strong enough to be mentioned by name. In the terms of his usability of his quirk.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, we see as many casualties as they want us to see. At the end of the episode, we get a little snippet of what All for One's plan is, and he's attempting to use the no moves to break him out of jail. Spoiler alert, it works.
I figured it would. We wouldn't have much of a story if they failed and that was it.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But
what, did you look it up? Because I don't think it works in this episode so far.
No, I mean the next episode it works. He gets out of jail.
Oh, that's right. He's kind of like
literally the next episode. He like at the end of the episode he's free. along with other heroes. I mean, other villains. He gets free. You see a lot of familiar faces. Actually, we can move on to next episode, which is Tartarus.
Sorry, did you? I was looking for Stain in that breakout. Did you happen to notice him?
No. I assume that they put him in Tartarus.
It would seem like the place to put him, right?
I guess, but I guess at the same time, it's like, what about Gentleman? Where do they put him? I mean, it sounded like they were intending to give him a second chance. Also, if Stain was there, I would have pictured he would take out everybody down there, or at least take out most of them. If he was down there and got free, I don't think he would let the villains in that place get free.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I don't know. Stain wouldn't even really know what was going on. He wouldn't have it. Nobody there should have access to information about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that I don't think if Stain was set free down there, regardless of what he knows and not knows out there in the world, I feel like he would definitely stop most of the villains down there that he could. Because he doesn't think of himself as a hero, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't think of himself as a villain. I think he just thinks of himself as a deterrent for all the evil in the world. And Tartarus seems like the perfect place for all the evil in the world. I mean, to me, it's just like, if he was down there and he was set free.
Have we seen him fight a villain before, though? I don't think I've ever seen. That would be unprecedented behavior for him.
No, I don't think it's unprecedented for him. I mean, yeah, we've only really seen him, like, you know, slaughter heroes that he doesn't think are like heroes, but that doesn't say that his mode of operation is to let, you know, villains, you know, run amok.
But he wanted to see the heroes like take a downfall.
He only wanted the heroes that you know, that he didn't see as heroes. You know,
the only two heroes that he ever thought were worthy were Deku and All Might.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think he's that crazy that he just let villains just run about. I think that would not serve his purpose.
He could be more interested in just getting out himself and not worrying about, like, possibly continuing his incarceration at the cost of catching a few of the villains. I mean, there's a lot of them there that would be as powerful or more powerful than him, or he wouldn't know. I don't know if it'd be his style to just rashly attack them, or if he'd get out and...
What's his quirk again?
To freeze them, right? Like he freezes their body or something like that if he takes a little tiny piece of their blood.
I want to say I don't think he's down there, and I only say that because he's not that like he was really only he's only really revealing the underbelly of this Cork Society. You know, there were just selfish heroes working about. If anything, they try to reform him. They're probably try to see if they can't reform him. It wouldn't work, but I know they probably try.
With his fanatical following, he'd be a candidate just because of the risk of breakout. You'd want to have him in a high security prison just because he had like fanatical followers that I would think would be very much trying to save him if they weren't guarded enough.
I'm gonna go on a limb. Would that really hold him? Because all his quirk does is restrain people if he's able to get their blood. Other than that, he's in quite physical shape. Okay,
and Eraserhead, his only quirk is erasing quirks, but he proves to be really badass because he's got...
That's what I'm saying. Would that place really hold him though? Is what I'm getting at. I feel like you could try to get him in there, and it probably would work for the first week as he's just trying to like figure out the place. But like, I feel like letting your guard down on him would be a bad idea, quirkless or not. He's one of the few characters I would think that, you know, even while he's quirky, he's still dangerous. Without his swords and everything, like, I feel like he could still take out a few guards.
I mean, they felt like they could hold All For One in there.
I don't know. I feel like if Stain was in there, they would have showed us Stain being in there. I don't think I saw Stain at all. They showed Overhaul though, which was... I
mean, know that he wasn't killed, and Overhaul seems more able to get away than Stain. Like, to be able to disintegrate and recreate things seems like a more
Well, Overhaul still doesn't have his arms.
Oh.
He took away his hand. Well, Shigaraki took away his hands before he even got caught.
And that was where his abilities came from, right?
Yeah, his quirk factor was in his hands.
Okay.
I don't think that. Here's the thing though. If he was in it, I feel like they would have showed Stain getting away. And it's all with that. Well, Garls, even just getting rid of like him not even caring about the villains. I feel like Stain could get out of there regardless. I feel like he is capable and sneaky enough to get out of there without getting caught. He wouldn't. I feel like Stain would stick to himself. He would not care about anybody else. Leaving the villains out of it, I feel like he'd just get out. He wouldn't even care. He'd try to get out and regroup. What I was
saying. I think that's much more likely. Like he might not like that everybody's getting away, but
the problem is though, like they would have shown us him doing that. I mean, they wouldn't just. They went out of their way to show us all the other villains. They even showed us I almost like to call him Meathead, that the guy with the muscle fibers.
Are they saving him for a plot twist later?
I don't know. The problem is, like, plot twist. What plot twist could he use him for? He's a rogue person.
But he's a leader. Right now, the villains don't have an extra leader like that. So
I don't see. I don't see him.
He's a feasible rival leader.
I don't see him. I wouldn't say I don't see him working for Shigaraki. I just don't see him working with the villains. I really just don't see him doing that. Because he's not evil. He's insane, but he's not evil.
He could lead his own faction because the world is like completely primed for somebody like him to rise up right now. The people that wouldn't necessarily be villains, but want reform because they're demoralized by heroes in the first place.
You know what? I'm gonna regret looking this up. I just want to see what's Stain and Tartarus.
Stain could definitely like tap into the theme that's going on right now, that people are disaffected with heroes. They're not necessarily ready to like destroy the earth, but they want hero reform, and Stain could definitely become a leader in that.
I don't know why they didn't show him. I didn't look up any more than that, but he is in Tartarus.
Yeah. So
wait,
I don't know.
Could that be him here? The guy with the black hair? There's an image at like 520. They show us the top. They show us the top angle of somebody with black hair at an angle, like with his back to the wall, and he's just sitting there, almost like in like a Stain pose, I would say.
I was almost stupid enough. I was stupid enough to briefly think that was Compressor Man, but obviously it wasn't. Compressor Man was at that time, though.
I mean, that could be Stain. I mean,
could certainly be Stain.
But the problem is though, like I feel like they went out of the way, I guess, before you go into this episode, I feel like the problem with that is that they went out of their way to show Chisaki. I don't even think he was even worth the animation they took to show us him getting free. But the reason that he was even given the time was just because they showed that new girl we don't know anything about getting out of jail. We don't know anything about her, the girl with the purple hair.
Yeah. I wondered about her. I was like, who the hell is that? And I asked my wife about that, and we didn't know.
No, she's new. She's been in Tartarus. She's just new.
Who she was. That's pretty cool.
I mean, they kind of show you her in the intro. I know you avoided that. I won't say anymore. My problem with that, if it did get out from all that mess, is why not show him? I would have preferred seeing him. I would have preferred seeing like him over Chisaki. I would have preferred seeing him over the guy with the muscle fibers. Like there's a lot of there's so many other spots they could have shown. I feel like it would have done him better to show him getting out. At least that way we know he's out there. You had to do guesswork now just to find out if he's even out there or not.
It's more his brand though to like be the one that slipped out unnoticed.
But why not show us though? I mean, they don't have to have him be shown by anybody else. Just have us know that he got out.
I think because they're going to do something with Spinner. I've been saying that for a long time, and I feel just as aware of that as I did before. That Spinner is becoming a little bit shaken here. The people that he was there the friends that he was there with are all gone, and Shigaraki is being overwhelmed, and he's already said to All for One that like you know, I follow Shigaraki, not you, but we know he really follows Spinner. So I think that they might be kind of building up the Spinner thing a little bit, and if we knew Stain was out there, it'd be a little obvious that Spinner was going to be involved in that. I think Spinner is going to have some sort of change of heart and be like a problem, an unexpected problem for Shigaraki. That's what I think, straight up. And I think that they might be building up on that right now.
I don't know. You have way more faith in Spinner than I do.
I have a what?
Yeah, way more faith in Spinner than I do. I don't know.
What's the purpose of Spinner if he's not there to do that?
He could just freaking be there. There's a lot of characters. Like, I mean, even the heroes. There's a lot of heroes that you kind of just got shown up.
Every single one of that gang, though, has been. First of all, he's been around for like 6 or 7 seasons. Second of all, every single one of that gang has had their own story, their own highlight moment. His highlight moment was like, I was a dude in an apartment and now I'm not. I think, you know, but really drove him out of there was he was inspired by Stain. And here we are, like, everything that he came here to do is gone. Everybody that he came here to be by the side of is gone. And now we have a situation where his original inspiration might come back. So, it seems to me like it makes a lot of sense.
I just feel like he would be so important. I feel like it's a disservice to not show us him getting out.
But I think they're saving it for the surprise. I think they're trying to subtly move Spinner into place.
I feel like they could still do, if they're trying to do that surprise, I feel like they could still do that surprise even with us knowing he got out. Because we just don't know when he's going to show up. Now I got the problem that I don't know if he's out and I don't know if he's going to show up. Shoot, for all we know, he could just be in the jail just chilling for no reason because he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
I just feel like I wish I'd known. What the hell? Wait, what? Oh Lord.
What?
I don't. Is this a spoiler? It must have been a mess in there, because I mean I saw the razor guy, Moonfish, I think was his name.
The moon guy, yeah.
Moonfish, we saw him for sure. All for One was a given. Muscular, that was his name. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. I can't tell, because like that's just a huge mess, and I guess we've known for a while he's been in there. According to Special Prison for Villains Criminals Tartarus, on the list of escapees, he is indeed listed. There's like a few escapees here. One of them I don't even recognize. 2 of them I don't even recognize. And I haven't looked them up. I don't even know what they look like. Just he is in fact listed as an escapee. That pisses me off a little because I wish they could at least shown him showing up. Maybe is he showing him getting out? Maybe he is showing getting out. I was just very blind to it. Well, I guess the only way they could do it is the surveillance, because everything kind of shut down. The EMP blast shut all the technology down. Maybe that's what because it was dark in there. There was that one. That was really weird. There's a picture. There's like an animation of 2 legs walking out of a jail cell, just walking out. Now, I can't tell who the heck that was, but they didn't show us his face. I thought maybe at first it was just like a random prisoner that just walked out of the prison. I guess I can't just say that. Huh?
What's the time signature for that?
Oh, there's nothing really go on with the feet. It's just that there's just this prisoner. So I would say 940.
In a corner of a white cell.
Huh?
I see the guy that you thought might be Stain sitting in the corner of the white cell with the shaggy black hair.
Yeah, I mean, it could be him. I don't know who it is.
Bald or something, standing up and leaning against a wall, and like looks like maybe he doesn't have his arms or something because you can't see them. Barefoot.
See, muscular.
And
maybe even all these. What?
I noticed that like when they show when they're looking at the 5 screens, one has All for One in it. One has that dark-haired guy, one has the bald guy, and one has the guy in the dark tied up. And it's interesting that he's in the dark while the other 3 are not. I wonder if like the dark is part of like the conditions of his imprisonment because he can use light, or they're trying to limit his sight or calm him down or something. But it's interesting that only one of those guys is in the dark. And everybody seems like a fairly big deal because the only other monitor that's showing anything is Giganto Machina being carried by what looks like a very inadequate helicopter.
Well, he's a giant, literally.
I know, you just wouldn't think that like 1 or 2 helicopters would be enough.
I mean, according to Tartarus' list of people who got out, I'm not gonna say any more about it. I just like, but they had listed Stain as somebody who got out. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing the next episode they're gonna recap who got out. I suspect, and I guess Stain will be listed as somebody got out, which now that kind of takes me off a little bit because I'm like, oh great, now like I wish I could have seen him get out. Just at least show what he did. If he killed anybody in the process, I would have loved to see him get out. But
sorry about that.
No problem. Oh well, he got out. I don't know, like he must not be in the in that group at the end of the episode that, you know, All for One's talking to. He must not be. But I feel like he would have jumped right at Shigaraki.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But
that being said, like that's going to be a play, like, and it makes for me it made perfect sense because the character like fits like quickly to me. Like they need a leader and he's a leader, and like an option that where you can be against heroes but not against society. Like it gives you a different alternative than the other ones do. So I think it's a really smart move to be able to have that as a possibility.
I don't know. You're kind of just pinning Stain to be a villain, though. I mean, honestly,
I'm not. What I'm saying is like he's somebody that you can follow when you're not against society as a whole, but you are, but you feel strongly that heroes are not doing what they should. Which is a huge section of society that wouldn't necessarily be ready to join All for One, but like could still be fanatical for somebody like Stain, who's more like a anti-hero.
I guess I have to see what they do or how they do it or where the heck Stain. But they in the middle of the ocean, so doesn't that mean Stain has to swim? Like, that's hilarious, actually.
He'll do it.
I mean, I know he can. I know he can. I'm just saying that's just hilarious to think. Is like Stain literally jumped into the water. Said, "Sayonara, suckers! I'm out of here!" And then swam as fast as he could through the water. Just the idea that he jumped into the water is hilarious to me.
A shark comes along, he gets a little of its blood and paralyzes it. Uses it as a flotation device.
Oh, that's okay.
It'd be so offensive for the shark.
And just the idea it tickles my funny bone in a really weird way. Now I'm thinking about it, it's like, huh, him getting out is actually hilarious.
Like, please don't be AB positive. Please don't be AB positive or whatever the blood type is that doesn't work.
But I guess on the topic of All for One, before he gets to the end of the episode, the whole plan of him like using Shigaraki, who, by the way, is still injured heavily, um, and the no moves that he gathered, which I guess that means that the entire plan, which he thought about somehow this far in advance, he needed all those no moves to pretty much funnel attention to the front of Tartarus, but there'd be enough. There'd be like a no move that Shigaraki the body of Shigaraki would be riding on that would jump, but that the no moves would take care of the front guards, make them really busy. Then he would somehow jump, on top of Tartarus, and essentially take out all the electronics, in that entire flotation device. Which, by the way, it's funny that there's a quirk out there that can take out and make an electric field to knock out all electricity. But it's even funnier. It's even funnier to me that they built this indestructible box Tartarus in the middle of an ocean, and the only thing that's on that that functions on there is the electronics, like the electric cell blocks, everything, the quirk dampeners, and all that stuff. It's just funny that you take all that stuff out, what you got? You just got a floating metal box in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
And this thing was really thought out. I guess in the grand scheme of things, but I guess who was expecting somebody to do what they did, which was jump on top, nuke everything, so that way nothing works, and then everybody just starts running out. It's not something that you would think about in hindsight. But I guess not thinking now they had over one in there, and now he's out. I'm guessing that's now a forethought in the future when they get him back, if they get him back.
Well, he's not going to care if he gets back because his goal is to. Not saying it'll succeed, but his goal is to transfer himself into Shigaraki's body.
I don't know how much of that is true anymore, based on at least how I was interpreting his conversation with Shigaraki. I still think there is still something going on with him in Shigaraki's body. That I'm pretty sure. But I don't know. It just either he's a really good liar and a manipulator, and he's just really trying to sway Shigaraki so he doesn't take offensive action.
Right.
Or is
I thought he was lying to Shigaraki and manipulating him.
I could see that. I could see that. If
he was manipulating up to this point, why stop now?
I mean, I could see that. It just seems kind of interesting to me. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm for him manipulating him to the point where it's like if Shigaraki doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't know what his plan is. And honestly, based on everything
I saw the shift in the theme, and all the way up to I think there's even a moment in the intro where I feel like the shift in the theme for Deku right now is that he wants to save Shigaraki. Whether or not it's a smart idea, he wants to save Shigaraki so that...
Shave Shigaraki? Get rid of the white hair on his head. Sorry.
That's the Yaoi side series.
Oh dear. Oh no. What have I done? Dang it. What have I done?
But no, I think he wants to save Shigaraki, and I think that there's going to be some narrative to feed that in the coming future, where they build Shigaraki as someone that could feasibly, I'm not saying is, but feasibly be seen by an idealist like Deku as someone that could be saved. So again, I think I want to make him dominated by All For One. You know what I mean? I think if they make him dominated by All For One, then that continues that theme. And it also continues the overarching theme of Shigaraki being the opposite of Deku, in that All Might selflessly gave his abilities to Deku, and All For One is selfishly taking everything, all of it for him, from Shigaraki. And then there's going to be that remnant inside of him of that person, just like Deku has the remnant inside of him of the former owners of his quirk. It makes such a clear parallel to me that I feel like it would be hard to write that off as not the way it was going to go.
Again, I see where you're going. I can see it. I mean, we definitely know the All For One's inside the consciousness of Shigaraki. That's no dispute there. It's so weird to think that he gave him his quirk, the copy, the original. He got the copy of his quirk, and he put it in him. And I don't even remember he was even mentioned that's what his initial plan was. It just seemed kind of weird. It just kind of seemed like the bombshell when they dropped it on us that he got his quirk. I don't think I remember him saying those words. I mean, I know he said he was going to help Shigaraki get his goal, but I don't think I ever heard the words he was giving him his quirk. I guess in a really weird situation, giving him and taking it back, you know, still stands there.
But the whole, it's poetic, isn't it? If that's the way it goes, like it's poetic to be like, you know, one for all gives everything away to somebody else, and like we know that All Might is like kind of a shell of his former self now, caved-in eyes, skeletal looking, blood coming out anytime he gets excited, and there's young, vibrant Deku with a promising future and bright eyes, and on the other side we have somebody that is just completely decimated by the passing along of power. I don't know, it just feels poetic to me. It feels appropriately poetic. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and that I could see how that would be the way it goes.
I guess that multiple questions. I wonder how long it's going to take Shigaraki to heal. Because at first you could make an argument that it's going to be real quick, but according to All For One, his super regeneration is not working how it should. That could mean weeks.
Right,
it could mean months.
That's the only thing keeping him from being able to just wipe out everything. So I think it's an important plot point that it takes a long time to do that.
I thought it was also interesting too when All For One was like using Shigaraki's body to see it decay some towers. He was realizing that he could, in theory, decay everything, but the water pressure would be too much for everybody down there. He's not trying to kill people, he's trying to set them free.
Yeah, he used like an alternate quirk, like the flash quirk that he used on Deku, which shows how intentionally he did not kill Deku as well. And yet Deku is 100% down for the count.
I mean, he freed everybody, he's like telling them to come with me, and now Shigaraki is somewhere resting his body, also unconscious, with All For One inside of his body. And then we flash forward, because this apparently happened almost right after they got away from the battlefield that was almost called Hosu City. A lot of places in this world that got decimated by what was going on with the war. Good gracious. Jakku? Yeah, I think Jakku. So we flash forward, I think 2 days or something. Dang. This new character, I guess we can mention too, is a purple hair girl. I'm not sure we said anything, but interesting how she shows up after Midnight's confirmed dead. I don't see there's any correlation. I'm just saying it's kind of funny.
I'm looking at the breakout scene where the two rows of police, looks like 14 of them. 13 of them, interesting number. 13 armored, like SWAT team looking police that look like sort of like they're wearing like Jango Fett armor, are ordering everybody back to their rooms. And there's just a big line of villains standing in front of them. And they all look not so powerful. And then Moonfish just kills good guys and bad guys together. That's such a badass scene. Like Moonfish is being built as like pretty villainous. And then if you look at around 11:48, there is a big hole in the wall, and then there's that guy with where you can't fully see his face with the black hair, peeking around the hole in the wall at everybody running away, but he's being covert. If your guess is that that's Stain, that's a really good moment for it. And then incidentally, there's a guy running by that looks creepily like Cementos. He looks like a cement block.
I mean, so maybe Cementos put somebody that was really powerful in there. Who knows?
Yeah, look around 11:40 of the episode, because they do a zoom in on his face. I don't remember and I can't take a screenshot because Crunchyroll, but the guy's face isn't anybody I know, except that it could be Stain.
Wait a minute. Oh my god, I think that is Stain.
Yeah.
No, I literally looked at his face and I thought he was like that other guy from Cause I was thinking, you know that guy from the who was, I think he looked very lethargic. He was during the he showed up during the pro license thing for Class 1A. That guy. Cause I remember looking and I was like, what's that guy doing here? What's he doing in jail? That is Stain.
That's Stain, and then that whole covert thing where he was like, everybody's running one
Stain.
way,
I didn't even
finding his own way.
Okay, so they did show. Okay, I feel a little bit better because I feel like that's an insult to Stain. They didn't show him at all.
And then like you got a couple seconds later, you have the purple-haired girl running next to like someone that looks like maybe Dora the Explorer. Did you see her?
Yes, sir.
To the left of the purple-haired girl. We're sure we don't know who she is, huh?
I have a name I'm not saying, and on top of that, you don't know of her because she's never shown up once.
Okay, so the next person that runs through is Overhaul with no arms. That wasn't the guy from a second ago, though, right? Because he doesn't have the same eyes.
No, that's different. I mean, he's different altogether. I mean, that guy's face was elongated, and that's what Stain's face was. We don't know what Stain's face looks like because he's always had a mask on the entire time. But that was Stain. I can confirm that for sure because he looks exactly like him without the mask on. We never seen his face, but I can almost guarantee that's Stain. It looks like him.
Cool.
That I am 100% certain of. That I am 100% certain of.
Yeah. So we found Stain.
Okay, I felt a little bit better because I feel like that was an insult to Stain if they didn't show him and they showed Chisaki. No offense to Overhaul fans, I just feel like that. I feel like I think Stain deserved. I feel like he should have gotten more screen time, but I'm guessing his face there was more than enough.
Yeah, I mean they show him a few times. They show him as one of the main people that they're monitoring. They show him like Batmaning it around while everybody's running one way. He's finding his own way out, and then they show his face in surprise. So I think it's pretty clear that he's somebody special.
I didn't notice that. I'm ashamed. I literally saw his face and I was like, I feel like I've seen his face before, but why is the guy from the hero exam here? That's what my exact thought was. Both times I watched it.
So then we see Muscular bashing through a wall with a handful of remnants, and Shigaraki Flash, more likely All For One, basically Arnold Schwarzenegger's into his "follow me if you want to leave."
I mean, yeah, they're all at the they're all free. Well, they're all at the hall trying to get out. Like they still got to swim for it.
He's like, "Follow me if you want to leave," and they're like, "Where are we gonna go?" And he's like, "Get in the chopper."
I wonder how All For One planned for them to. Sorry if I'm ignoring all that. I know it's funny, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. I wonder how they're intending to. Wait, is that are all the Nomus dead?
Probably not.
Well, he's telling like the League to watch over Shigaraki's body. We see Dabi, some guy. Oh, the guy with the ability to turn things into living. Well, correction, Dabi, Toya, and we have Spinner here, freaking out like he usually does over what's going to happen to Shigaraki.
Yeah, now I think that this is another sign of that. Like Spinner's like, "You're not the person I follow. Who are you? Like, why are you doing this? What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, not to worry. I'm helping him." And Spinner's doesn't strike me as incredibly bright. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, I can't do a lot about this anyway, so I guess I gotta live with what's going on." But I still don't think Spinner likes it much, and I think that Spinner's arc is going to turn into him.
Oh, so it's 2 days later.
Being a neutral character, likely turning into a good character at some point. I think he's redeemable still, because even now, like anytime really villainous things are happening, Spinner's not on the scene. Like, where is he during the jailbreak? He's not. What did he do during the fight?
I mean, Shigaraki. Well, I mean, All For One and Shigaraki's body went in there. Rambo. He didn't need anybody's help but the Nomus.
all that Spinner did during the big fight from the last few episodes was ride along Gigantomachina, bite Shigaraki in the head to try to wake him up, and eventually wake him up by putting the thing on his face. But he didn't really like. I mean, he was trying to help who he saw as his friend. Like it's still close enough to misguided where we can't say he's like unredeemable. The near high ends and Tartarus jailbreakers attacked 7 prisons, so they definitely made it out of Tartarus, and 6 of them had a large number of prisoners released. So did they lose like 1 Nomu in all that time? Is that what they're implying?
I had no idea. I apparently. Like, how much of Spinner's quirk did we ever get this?
Attacked 7 prisons, and 6 of them had a large number of prisoners. Okay, so 6 prisons out of the 7 had a large number of prisoners released. What happened at that last prison? What happened at the 7th prison that did not have a large number of prisoners released? Also, where are they going to put Gigantomachina now that Tartarus is dead? Didn't they say they were going to put Gigantomachina in Tartarus the next day? They have nowhere to put it now.
I didn't think they were trying to put Gigantomachina there.
I thought that's what they were doing. That's why he was on the screen at the beginning of that episode.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to take him someplace where they could hold him, because I don't think they even had a cell big enough to hold him.
Right. I thought they said they were bringing him over there. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there is something there they could do. I have no idea. Either that or you know they could shrink him.
Like they can put him anywhere where they can hold him, like with All for One on the loose, at least. You see one Nomu. Oh, you see the Nomus like collapse with exhaustion at the end, especially the flying one that carried Shigaraki.
Wait, where are they gonna put it? He's so big. Since he's human, they can't just blow him up. Wait. I mean, by I guess they were trying to take him to Tartarus.
Mm-hmm.
It's implied, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I don't know why he'd even be on the radar of the Tartarus prison.
But the problem is, where could they put him? I don't think they have a giant cell for him, do they?
No, but we don't exactly know what Tartarus looks exactly like.
I mean, I got a good idea based on all the cells that they have in here. I mean, I think he would take up like an entire floor just by himself.
Yeah, but they would do that, wouldn't they? I don't understand what they're going to do with him in that case anyway, though. Like, okay, say you give him an entire floor, like what's?
I think they're trying to kill him. I think that's basically what they're like. They couldn't kill him there. The guns weren't enough. Is one of the lines.
Think that other, it sounded like they couldn't kill him. Do you think that other Nomu, the really good one that All Might fought one-on-one, was kept in that place too?
No, I don't think so, because he's not dangerous. He's only dangerous if he gets an order.
He's dangerous enough to keep him there.
And maybe they're able to, like, I mean, I know that Nomus are just zombies. I mean, there's always a chance they could probably find a way to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Not kill him, just like, get them to stop being alive. Well, I guess it's the same thing, but I think they're trying to kill Gigantomachina. I don't think they're intending to keep him. The line sounds like said they were like, couldn't they just kill him over there? That the guns weren't enough. It was basically what I just read there. But where are they going to take him now? I mean, Gigantomachina is the same thing though. He's not dangerous until he's given an order. And he's actually special because he doesn't take orders from anybody but his master. Our masters in this case.
Yeah, that's fair.
So big that the guns probably couldn't do it. And since he's a human, they can't just blow him off with a missile. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe they were just gonna keep him in prison. It sounded like they were say they like somebody asked why didn't they just kill him over there, but they said they couldn't do it because he's a human. And then one of the guys said he's not really a human, he's a walking disaster. Never mind. I misinterpreted the entire situation there. I thought they were talking about killing him. No, they wanted him dead, but he's a human, so they couldn't kill him. Human rights.
They prefer him dead, but he's like, we can't just kill the guy. Which makes no sense to me, because I guess they can try him and kill him, you would think, but whatever.
No, I think they said that they would have, like, even though Gigantomachia is dangerous, human rights nuts would be all over the place. Apparently, there's information been leaking from in there for years, apparently. I don't know why that has any bearing on anything that's happening as well right now, but secret government organizations.
You know, I feel like I would take the hit. I'd go full Trump on that and just, like, not care.
Then but they said they don't know if the guns were enough, so I don't know if they were going to kill him, what were they going to attempt to do? Because, like, it doesn't seem like it's easy to kill him, even regardless of his docile nature, without an order from Shigaraki or All For One. And by the way, now we know that All For One can actually just speak to people telepathically. There's no guarantee that Gigantomachia is not dangerous anywhere he is. Because there's a good chance that if he can talk to him telepathically, he might get him to move. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that guy is just a walking. He respects.
The reason he left Gigantomachia behind, I think, is not because he couldn't take him with him. I think he left him behind because he knew that Gigantomachia, like, he can't, like, lay low with Gigantomachia, like, stomping around with him. So, but he can pick him up anytime that he wants. So I think it makes a lot of sense to just leave him for the time being.
And as for the other Nomu, though, I don't know. They don't even mention him. I feel like he's just background noise now. That Nomu that All Might be didn't seem special. That didn't seem really all that special compared to the other ones we've seen at this point. Even the high end and Endeavor burnt to death. That Nomu doesn't really seem all that special. Now, unless there's something else we don't know about him yet, I mean, there's also that chance too. There's also a possibility that Nomu has something we don't know about. But to me, it's like based on the Nomus we've seen, that Nomu from the very first season doesn't seem all that special. It's like he was just made to deal with All Might. All Might's done now. All For One doesn't seem all that scared of Deku, so.
No, he doesn't. He seems like.
But it just seems like to me that's all that Nomu was for.
Yeah, I think Deku is just a resource to him. I think he fully was able to kill him a moment ago, like in that other episode, and did not.
Well, he couldn't because the Quirk said they're not leaving. The Quirk outright just. The little brother told him, "No, I'm staying." But I thought it was hilarious because it's like the little brother standing up to the older brother. That really does not happen. It's kind of funny here. It's like he's having a fight. He's having a family feud in Deku's mind. And he just said, "I'm not going anywhere. We're staying here," which again I think is a very interesting choice of words. He could have just said, "We're not going anywhere easily." He just outright said, "I'm not going anywhere." So it's like, you know. It's also really weird wording to have something like that stated. But who knows? Maybe it's just words that they were spelling out. But I guess really quick, after like the prison break is what we're calling it. Apparently 2 days have passed. The time is I guess the dates and time is really interesting because we're seeing things happening in the past and in the future. We go to the hospital, and apparently it's a new hospital with newfangled technology that can help people heal. We see Bakugo wake up, and apparently Mineta, the grape guy, is happy that Bakugo woke up. Bakugo is screaming what's happening. Zero says he'll explain everything, but don't panic. And then we cut away. Which in hindsight is actually kind of funny too. We cut away to Gran Torino in his hospital bed. He's badly hurt. Get a little flashback again to him talking to I think it's the 7th user. I think it's the 7th user. It's all for one. It's All Might. Yeah, All Might's previous user, so he was 8. I think the Dick was 9. So the 7th user, Nana, and she's explaining that she apparently altered. I think this is a bit of information we don't know, is that she altered the registry so she doesn't have a son. I like to point out how failed of a plan that was, because...
Well, she was trying to protect him, I guess.
Well, she said he's trying to protect her son, which she did successfully. She didn't protect her grandson. That is where she failed. It's kind of funny, and I don't know, and this is the other thing too, I don't know, it's like, there's no way All For One could know that Nana had a grandson, because I don't even think Nana even had a knew she had a grandson. But at the time, during those flashbacks that Shigaraki was having, those flashbacks of him as a little kid, back when his hair was still blue or black, I mean, he saw a picture, so I had to assume, oh no, that's a bad assumption. He did want to meet her, but his father got upset with the aspect. But yeah, she wouldn't have known she had a grandson. But it's still kind of funny though. I wonder how, like, did All For One know? Did he sense some connection with the boy, which is why he sought him out? He's kind of interesting because he could have picked any little kid in the street who hated the world of heroes. And Shigaraki was like, see, in an alleyway, you know, asking for help when he found him.
Yeah,
but think about this. He's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, he didn't find. Do you really think he found him in an alleyway, or do you think that he looked him up, first of all, and second of all, like?
I mean, I feel like he found him in an alley because, like, when we see Shigaraki's memory, and these are memories, by the way, that Shigaraki locked away that he had to go deep into his subconscious to even find in the first place. I feel like Shigaraki was definitely, he was on the street for sure. I feel like he must have been in an alleyway. I mean, we see constantly that same image of him asking for help and that old woman saying, you know, the heroes will help you, over and over again, which is kind of part of the reason why he's having a traumatic experience to begin with. I feel like a little kid like him in a crowd in the alleyway, you know, nobody else to help him out, just sitting there waiting to die.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's preying on the guy, but he knows full well what his past is.
I just don't know, like,
a fantastic source of revenge. And
that's the thing. Is that?
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I agree with you saying that, you know, constant source of revenge. I just find it really weird. It's like, there's no way he would have known that was her grandson. Not that I could think.
Why not? He knew him when he was certainly following, like, that version of that generation. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was certainly following.
Yeah, but there's no connection to him in One For All. Like, I'm pretty sure he's very far replaced. I honestly could see the son being the link that he would take, not the grandson. To me, it just seems like he is so far removed from the system that, like, to me, it's like the only way I would think that he would know is that maybe he's aware of some signature that she has that her family gives off.
You don't think he would just? I mean, she had to be pregnant. It's not like she's the father. Like, she had to be pregnant.
No, what I'm saying is that, yeah, the son thing would make sense because, you know, but like Shigaraki isn't her son. She's our grandson. To me, it's like she made it evident she did not want any connections to her. It just seems kind of really random to me. It's like, I mean, it's too late now. He's already in contact with Shigaraki, so I don't know how that happened or what his initial, what he knew, what he didn't know. I guess at this point, it's said that he must have known about the grandson at some point, at some factually. Maybe he went after the son because he knew what he looked like as an adult, but he realized that he can get to the grandson much easier.
Or maybe the son didn't have a power he was interested in, but he saw a lot of potential in the grandson.
I guess also what it could be, maybe that he didn't know about the connection at first. He just saw the power, like you said, and just chose him out of the random. Only later on finding out there was connection. I mean, to me, I could take All For One randomly choosing him just out of serendipity because he saw how powerful the potential he had, and only later on finding out that, you know, that was the grandson of the 7 user that gave him so much trouble. Because I don't know, I feel like that information of, you know, that's like being the grandson would be something that he would not find out at first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then there's no proof of that. I'm just saying that it's like, you know, to me, with his intelligence, like, you know, him finding out, because I don't know what recourse would he make to, because she already said that she changed registry, so she has no children. She did something in the registry to disconnect her and her family.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, I just think that he keeps very close tabs on anyone that has that power, and he would find out that she was pregnant for 9 months. I mean, he would either disappear for 9 months and then suddenly reappear, and the son would be on the registry for at least a short time in the meantime, and long enough for someone that was suspicious about the fact that she disappeared for 9 or 5 or whatever months after she started showing and thought it was too dangerous to fight with a baby in her, like, would be able to find that registry, like, if they were following her close enough. And we know that he doesn't want One for All dead. He wants to take the power, so he's going to bide his time. But then he must have figured out, like, after she passed away, he had kept track of the son. The grandson, it doesn't look like, was a secret and probably made a lot of news when he disintegrated his family. Do you know what I mean? Even though he left, people tend to notice when someone's turned into dust.
I don't think the world knew it was him.
I don't think the world knew it was him, but I think somebody, like, as observant as All For One would pick up on something like that. You know what I mean? And be patient enough to watch over it, and then find the kid eventually and say, like know about his power, and say, this is something I can work with, and I love the idea of getting revenge on one of my predecessors, and we know it's a good genetic line because the predecessor was one of the greatest heroes of all time, yada yada yada. So, like, yeah, I think it stands to, like, the test to say that perhaps that's how it went down.
I don't know, it's just him knowing that was the grandson of his. I feel like that's so far-fetched. I could buy the son for sure.
I don't think
I am buying the son. I just don't know if I can buy the grandson. Like, I don't know. I'm buying the son.
If you knew who the son was, but it was inconsequential to him, but he was keeping an eye on them anyway, and then figured out that the kid, and all he would have to really do is know that the son was there, and then find out that the son was killed, and be curious about it.
But even with that, though,
the son, and then he hears through the grapevine, even if he wasn't paying attention, he hears through the grapevine that the son was killed when he goes to check on him one day on Facebook or some shit. And, like, he is curious about what happened, reads the story and finds out that he was disintegrated, finds out that's kind of interesting, looks into it and says that, like, I think he could take it from there, and then maybe it would take him a while to find the kid, because the kid's not found for quite a while, but he could track the kid down. The kid probably didn't go very far. He probably didn't try to leave the city even. And I think that it makes sense that somebody as resourceful and patient and persistent as All For One would be able to find him and find out what his power was, and think that this was a great way to be evil, you know, and ironic and poetic and all those things that he likes to be, demoralizing, and take it from there. It just makes perfect sense. Really, your grandmother was a good vessel for One For All, so there's a good chance you're a good vessel for All For One. You have a fantastic power I wouldn't mind stealing. You're young. It makes great sense to me.
I just don't know where he would, like. I feel like there's a leap that has to be made for him to connect him to her, though.
I don't think so. And
Because
also,
even
like,
because even with that, even with, if he were to say that he knew that Nana had a kid and knew and kept tabs on her to the point, you know, that realizing that she changed the registry and made sure that there was no connection between her and the son. But at the same time, I feel like he'd be more interested in the son, just to see what he was about. I mean, I guess maybe if he was interested in son, he just didn't. He wasn't interesting enough. Maybe he didn't have a quirk. It's a possibility. Then his son. Then the son. What the heck? Then the son. I guess the son had a kid, but just like, I don't know. It just. I don't think even. I mean, I can't even say if he's omnipresent or not. He probably is, but I just. I don't know, it just seems, I can't wrap my brain around, or I can't just buy that he somehow just outright knew that that was a grandson. Like maybe, I feel like maybe I could buy him keeping tabs on a kid with an amazing quirk, finding where he went after the destruction of the house that he was living in and all the family members dying. He'd follow that trail of breadcrumbs to the kid, wherever he was. I mean, like you said before, he couldn't gotten far, he's a little kid. Obviously he must have been, he was hungry or whatever, because I mean, kids can't survive too long by themselves. So he managed to find him. I feel like, to me, it's like, I'd be more willing to buy that he didn't know at first and then found out somehow later that, you know, he was a grandson of his predecessor.
I don't know if I have like any more to add to this. Like, it's just, for me, it makes perfect sense. For you, it doesn't, and I'm not sure like what else there is to put into that. Like, it just still makes sense to me.
I mean, everything about that made sense. Just like the all for one finding out that she had a grandson. It just, even she didn't know she had one, and that was before she died. But I don't know, just making the connection that, you know, ultimately his plan was to shame her anyway, and he did successfully do so. But it just, I don't know, something about it, like, I feel like as knowledgeable as he was, I just don't think he's that knowledgeable that he knew that the son had a kid.
He doesn't need to be. He has people to be knowledgeable for him. Think about this, Jeremy. Like, he was not. Shigaraki didn't have that much potential. That's going to be my thing. He did not have that much potential to be a crime lord. He was built into it. He was trained and groomed, and sacrifices were made. He failed like multiple times, like in putting groups together that could be powerful. When he finally got his ultimate form, it was through one of All For One's contacts. When his form was unlocked, it was from training, like brought about by All For One's contact with one of All For One's creations. His biggest servants, or many of his biggest servants, were Nomus, which were All For One's creations. Shigaraki was carrying over a lot of his stuff, but it's very hard to think that somebody as resourceful as All For One, who was clearly planning on taking over him all along anyway, actually thought that he was going to be a valuable crime lord leader, like, in the end, because he wasn't. He just wasn't. Like, almost everybody there outclassed him if it wasn't for the resources that One For One was providing him, like Nomus and incredible scientists and Giganto Machina and villains and guidance and training and the service of that teleporter guy. And he failed over and over and over again, or like at least ground to a halt over and over and over again. When by the time Spinner had like joined him, he was like home, like poor and out in his zone, and they didn't even have enough like resources to get money. And sure, they had a little bit of power, but like they seemed pretty washed up for a long time. And it just doesn't strike me that this was the one that he saw that much potential in. Like, he was selfish at the end. All he just wanted to do was just destroy. He didn't want to be a leader. He didn't have it in him. He wasn't interested in it. He just wanted to destroy everything. And if that was his if that was his way that he could have paved to destroy things, then great. Which makes him extremely manipulable, because he's very simple. He wants one thing, and he believes this person because he's vulnerable and a little kid on the street when he found him, and he seems like he's doing great things for him and providing him resources and power and things like that, and that he's been arrested. But really, the dude's just stepping aside and like biding his time. and like building up, physically building and like literally building Shigaraki in a test tube thing, like, you know, in a cell isolation container into something that's going to be his greatest creation, so that he can take it and take it over. Like, it's too clear of a plan for me, what he had in mind, and it's too clear of a plan that like he picked somebody that was a pretty powerful hero, I mean a pretty powerful character that would help him make his revenge. Like, it's just a ripe choice of somebody to take. So
I'm still having a hard time fitting in the piece of the relation, because even with the scientists and everything like that, they would be busy trying to, like, you know, get the quirks and everything involved. Even the doctor that was involved helping him, and then she went out of her way to disconnect her son from her, which hurt her deeply, by the way. It hurt him, as we already saw. But even when, like, disconnecting, like, there's no way you can if I was over from, there's no way I would think I would be able to connect her Shigaraki to her without me doing some research on him after picking him up off the ground. And it doesn't seem like, to me, up to this, like, at least now he's more manipulatable and he's more manipulative of, you know, Open One is. At that time, he kind of just gave Shigaraki the guise of, I'm your savior. He didn't even bother mentioning that I'm aware of who your relatives are. Not that I remember him saying any of the words that he directly stated to Shigaraki. And maybe Shigaraki at some point let it slip. And maybe that's what's going on. Maybe he didn't know, and then Shigaraki let it slip. I could buy that little thing, but like, everyone knowing immediately before, you know, picking him up, because I feel like I don't think All For One's idea was turning into a crime when he first picked him up. I believe he just saw a good power that he wanted to take, and he was willing to let it, you know, he was willing to, you know, the whole him like biding his time. He was willing to let it ripen and get stronger over time before he picked it out of him. But after probably discovering that the connection to one of his greatest adversaries was in fact somebody connected to One For All, because I don't think there's anything in the DNA. As I said, I feel like he is still so far removed from it that I feel like only his son, I guess even his son was connected to it somehow. Like, I guess Shigaraki would still have a connection to it, even if it is very minute. I don't know, everything else fits, I just can't fit that piece of him knowing him as grandson, but I guess I won't really harp on it too much. It happened, it's already been put into motion.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the healing scenes where everybody seems to be in one piece and Deku's still out?
I mean, I kind of some of the expected, such as the people, civilians. I mean, the whole them asking what's Endeavor's connection to Dabi, stuff like that. I expected that after Dabi did what he did, or Toya, I should say, after Toya did what he did. That's what I expected. Endeavor being out for the count for right now, but based on that preview, he's in a hospital bed looking out the window. Everything kind of falling to complete crap kind of is what is to be expected. Some of the things that were happening, such as like Shoto saying that he has to be the one to take out Dabi, that was kind of interesting to see. Deku being out, I feel like this is just probably just how storytelling works. Deku being the main character, if they were gonna involve Shoto in the fight with his brother, and they wanted Shoto to be the one to fight him from the onset, they would have to take out Deku, and the best way to do it is Deku is just very hurt, and he'll just remain out, you know, for a little bit. Who knows for how long, but like, he'll just remain unconscious. They'll probably do some like One For All stuff in his head, you know. Let plot, you know, push forward through there. Because we know they're not afraid to use the One For All world in Deku's mind. Yeah. He used like several times now. Don't know what they're gonna do with Bakugo, because Bakugo seems to be the least hurt that I can see. I mean, he's coughing up blood. So he's not far from bed rest, but
I mean, Grape seems fine.
Hmm?
Grape seems fine.
Who?
Grape.
What?
You're saying? I was kidding. Grape. The guy that you
Oh, I
like.
kept on hearing Breaks, and I was like, what? Who the heck is Breaks?
Earphone Jack seems fine, except she's got little bandages on his earphones. What's the bird one named? Shadow?
Tsukiyomi?
Tsukiyomi, seems pretty fine. Bandage on his head, pretty much, right? Not even a bandage on his foot. He seems pretty fine. I mean, there's other people, like Red Rocket seems like he's got a couple little bandages, but he'll be fine. 380 seems fine. Of the badly injured people, like the horribly, like disabledly injured people, like I guess Bakugo is the most feisty, but I don't know if he's the most injured or not. I don't know if he's the least injured, I should say.
Man, he doesn't seem as hurt. It's like he was expecting somebody who got stabbed 4 times through the body.
Is he more hurt or less hurt than Endeavor? Even though Endeavor has got less hurt than Endeavor. I mean, every part of his body looks like it's covered in bandages.
I mean, Endeavor literally. I think they're gonna have to like cool him down. I think it's like what they're dealing with him. He just overheated, literally.
Yeah. I mean, the acid girl is fine. Like, the guy with multiple limbs is fine.
I mean, the damage that was ultimately done was just to like the. I mean, it was already being chipped at from the very first episode. Well, at the end of the first season. I mean, it was already being chipped at. I guess also we could talk about this. Shoto having his little contemplation because apparently he can't talk because I didn't know his throat got burned. That was intriguing. But the little like contemplating he was having, and he was like comparing Dabi to how he was during like the tournament from season 2. I thought that was kind of intriguing that he said essentially Dabi was him. Like they were the same. It's kind of like how I guess Endeavor did the whole comparing himself to that high end that he fought. It was kind of interesting that he compared his hatred of Endeavor to like what Dabi was doing. Though like, I would say Dabi was having more fun with it, but I mean tomato.
I mean, Endeavor's basically a monster.
We still don't know the full story. I don't think everything happened the way that it did. And I will die on this hill. This is a hill I probably don't need to die on, but I will die on this hill. you can be down there at the bottom, but I will die on this hill. I don't know. I mean, I guess on that subject, it looked like to me. I mean, it was kind of evident based on. I mean, you couldn't really hide that too much, but it seems like Shoto's mother came by to see him in the hospital. Because there's somebody that walks up right behind the older brother and older sister, and then they cut away, and it shocks Shoto to see who it was. The only person I could think it would be that would cause that expression on his face would be his mother.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine anybody else that would make him like shocked to see. But yeah, I mean, like everything's happening right now. I was like, I mean, I feel kind of bad for Endeavor a little bit, mainly just because this is like, you know, somebody who he thought died in a forest fire suddenly just shows up out of nowhere in his life, and then broadcasts an entire documentary about what happened with Tim as a kid, and now the world's like wondering what's going on here. But like it's just like everything is kind of progressing after that point how I expected. He's trying to make amends, but now the world knows, and it's like, this is gonna be a problem. I suspect he'll do as much damage control as he can. But I feel like Endeavor is a little bit different than he was before. I feel like if this was the Endeavor that showed in season 2, was it season 2? I feel like much earlier on Endeavor, I feel like he would definitely try to cover up everything that happened. But I think now that he's a little bit changed. I think he'll just take, you know, the punishment for what he did.
I think what they're doing is trying to show us that Shigaraki can change if a monster like Endeavor did.
We get it, you hate Endeavor. You don't have to keep hammering this point home every podcast episode.
No, I'm just saying, like, if a monster like Endeavor can change, then obviously, like, that sets up the plot line for Shigaraki to be saved, and, you know, he primes us to be a little bit more empathetic.
Endeavor has not killed anybody of his family. What are you saying?
Are you sure?
Everybody in his family's alive. I mean, he hasn't had any more kids besides the 4 that we are aware of.
How many children do we not know about that weren't good enough, so he decided to cull them?
Based on the backstory that Toya gave, he only had 4. Him being the first one, and then the next 2 being the older brothers we see in the hospital, and then it showed up being the last one.
Yeah.
But it was only 4.
Said, he probably culled a lot of children before it. Like, he's like, this one isn't good enough. Blew them into bits. And
I don't think that's how the human body works in terms of giving out kids. They're not rabbits.
He would check their hair. Like, he'd be like, okay, this one's hair is all white, this one's hair is all red. This one's a mix. I mean, you notice they all are sort of a mix, right? It's probably not a coincidence.
I'm certain that they only have 4 kids.
So you say.
You get it? You hate Endeavor. I mean, can we move on from this?
You're an Endeavor fanboy. I mean, you're just extraordinarily biased. That's all.
I am certain it's not as bad as it seems.
No?
I had a friend, he didn't say much to me about it, but he's like, it's not, there's more to the story than, than... I'm being dead serious. I mean, I have a friend who's read further into this stuff. I've told him to be as vague as he can if he ever do talk about it, but he just mentioned it's not as bad. The story that's going on there isn't as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
There's something going on with the mother side of the family that we don't know about yet.
How can you tell that Endeavor's lying?
What?
How could you... I'm telling you a joke. How can you tell if Endeavor's lying?
I don't know.
Because his lips are moving.
That was a horrible politician joke. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really. I don't know the facts of what's going on in Endeavor's family. We only know what we see from the outside, and I don't think it's a fair judgment. Because I still blame. Like I still think it's kind of messed up that he got burnt by his mother, regardless of any trauma that she had. She should have just thrown the water on the ground. She didn't have to throw it in his face.
She's probably thinking about how something like that happened to the other children. She's like, might as well just burn them all at this point.
But none of the other children have burn marks.
None of the children that lived, yeah.
Are you certain that he had more than 4 children? Because I don't think that's how the human body works. Like, you shouldn't be able to pop out a children like that.
Maybe there was like triplets and he killed them all. You don't know for sure.
But even with that, I mean, you already vehemently decided you don't like Endeavor, and if you were to say you only had 4, you wouldn't believe him. Tell me that if he confirmed how many children he had, would you believe the number he said? Oh, in all honesty, would you believe the number he said?
I already told you how you can tell if he's lying.
Okay, yeah, he's already decided. I mean, he's already said this several episodes before. He isn't like Endeavor, so I guess whatever.
I'm sorry that you're delusional.
What?
I'm sorry that you're delusional. It must be hard being so delusional, that's all.
I feel like Toya, I mean, he would have no shame. He should know, and he was the first of them.
You should know what?
Toya should know. He was the first of them. He only talks about there was like 4 of them. Him and the other 3.
Toya should know because he's the first one that lived.
Why you said he killed them? It didn't seem like, I mean, because even here's the thing too. It's like if that was the case, those other 2 should die. They should have died. They're still alive.
The other 2, well, I mean, he didn't know until they were too old to kill.
That doesn't make any sense. He could have killed them regardless.
He could have killed him regardless, but there's the political implications. He wants to be the #1 hero.
It doesn't make any sense either because, like, I mean, like, I think at the time he was not a hero, or he wasn't even being a hero. I think he was like a vigilante.
You can only kill so many children before people start noticing, and if they hit a certain age, then it's much easier to notice that.
Doesn't make any sense either because, like, you know, they display quirks as 4, I think. So there's no way he would have not known that the quirk didn't, you know, align with what he wanted. It's either 4 or 6. They would have displayed a quirk at a very young age.
Game Hunter, you know I'm messing with you, right?
I'm just like fighting back at this. That's all I'm doing.
You're fighting a lost battle. Like, this battle was lost before it started.
And worse, like, I mean, nothing will change your mind. I'm well aware of that. I can't help but try. So far, he's the only he's the only fire-based pro hero that they actually show any real evidence of. I mean, they bring up Deku's father having flamethrower, but at the same time, I don't know where his freaking father is. I don't know what he's doing. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter because, I mean, if he mattered, they would have shown him to begin with. But it still is very irritating that they say that and then they don't show his father.
Maybe Deku's father is Endeavor.
No, it's not.
How do you know?
Deku would have said something. And before you bring it that he doesn't know, he would have known.
Maybe
he would have known. He would have known.
He would have known.
He would have known, yes.
How do you know?
I don't think he would forget something like that.
Maybe he was never like. Maybe he only heard about his father, but never found out directly.
No, he would have known. And Endeavor would have known too. That for certain would have happened.
Maybe like Endeavor thought he killed him, and they actually stole him away in the night.
Nah, that doesn't track.
No, you're right.
What the heck?
You're right, that doesn't track.
What the heck? Why do you try to make this guy like the worst person ever? There are serial killers out here who are way worse than he is.
It's super fun.
I mean, yeah, but what Endeavor has been shown to do is messed up, and he's trying to fix it. I can live with that versus him being the person he was and not trying to fix it. If he wasn't trying to fix it, I couldn't live with that. At least he's trying to. And it seems like Shoto is like very close to, you know, forgiving him. And I say this because he's been on record calling him dad several times, and that's something he's never done. Not even once before now.
Yeah, after he beats her, he cries. You know, when she feels bad. It's all okay.
Okay, I think that's a sign we need to end the podcast here. He's been literally trying to end it for the several times. I had not even taken the bait.
You took all the bait.
The next episode preview, they're saying it's a Todoroki family part 2, so I guess we'll find out more. What?
It's my thing. Like, it's my specialty is giving you bait to take. Like, I'm a master baiter.
That hurt me.
What?
In more ways than one. Okay, the preview next episode is apparently the Todoroki family part 2. Guess we're gonna learn whatever we don't know about what happened. Not that it matters to Jock because he's already made his mind. So I'll be watching that episode in anticipation.
It'll be good anticipation.
What?
It'll be a good anticipation. We have fun here. It'll be good. Like and subscribe.
That's not how this podcast work. Well, maybe the YouTube, but whatever. I have also been noticing there are people who've been watching on YouTube when this thing goes up, so Hello, YouTube viewers. Haven't been acknowledging because I had not been noticing these videos were getting views. So, welcome to the shenanigans. Whenever this goes up, enjoy, and I think that's where I can end it here. The next episode,
Bye,
next
everybody.
podcast, we'll be talking about, I guess, Dragon Prince at the same time. We'll see. Bye.
Say goodnight, Game Hunter.
Good night, Game Hunter.